Let us discuss about 14th October 2015 newspaper. Now the first very important article is related to the status of Jammu and Kashmir under Article 370. We all know that the Jammu and Kashmir has a special status and no outsider can permanently settle in Jammu and Kashmir, can vote in the elections over there and cannot buy the property or gain the job in the governmental office. So the Article 35A of the Constitution is providing for legitimacy to this particular permanent resident status. It is nowhere applicable in India other than Jammu and Kashmir. So Article 35A, which was introduced into the Constitution under the interpretation of Article 370 by presidential order, it provides Jammu and Kashmir state legislature to define permanent resident mean. Based on this, the Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly defined the permanent resident as any person who is living on Jammu and Kashmir as on May 14th, 1954, or any person who is living on the land for the last 10 years and legitimately owns the property, he is called as a permanent resident. So other than permanent residents, no one can buy or sell the land to the outsiders. Now in this context, before history in 1927 itself, the permanent resident issue was there in Jammu and Kashmir because the Pandits are majority of the government job holders under a Dogri king. So to avoid the Punjabis taking the jobs under Kashmiri king, so they have raised this issue of permanent resident. Now in post-independent India, the special relationships or special integration of the Jammu and Kashmir to India, accession of Jammu and Kashmir, that has provided for this situation. Now in this context, RSS and other Hindu organizations, they strongly believed the only long-term solution to Jammu and Kashmir issue is the demography has to change with outsiders also entering the Kashmir Valley. Now in this context, they are challenging this Article 35A because it was not introduced through constitutional amendment under Article 368. Now there is a small logic which they are missing over here. Not just the Article 35A that has come to the through the way of presidential order. Application of the fundamental rights and next is the subjects in the union list where the parliament has authority and various constitutional provisions were all extended to Jammu and Kashmir through the presidential orders. The name of the Riyasat or Sadari Riyasat was changed to the governor. His mode of appointment, which was previously through election, was changed to appointment by the President of India. The Prime Minister's name was changed to the Chief Minister. Authority of the Election Commission and Supreme Court, all these were extended to Jammu and Kashmir through various presidential orders. If the presidential order that has inserted the Article 35A, if it is questioned, the subsequent presidential orders also need to be questioned. It means it will push the India and Jammu and Kashmir relation to pre-1954 situation where Jammu and Kashmir is related to India or Jammu and Kashmir has given authority to India only on three subjects, that is defense, external affairs and communication. It means that is it going to bounce back on the people who are proposing it? Let us wait and see. Now another issue is the Sangh recommends the permanent resident status in Kashmir goes against the women and also the Safai Karmacharis because based on their occupational status, the Safai Karmacharis, they are not getting any right to buy the property over there. Added to that, if a Kashmiri woman marries to a person outside the Kashmir, she also loses the right to buy and to be a permanent resident in the Kashmir. It means that Article 35A goes against to the interests of the women and Valmiki Safai Karmacharis. And the next is, sedition is unconstitutional. So Section 124A of Indian Penal Code, it provides for sedition. If you can remember Balagangadhar Tilaka, he was sent to Rangoon jail on the sedition charges. In this context, let us understand this sedition. It is a weapon of the government. If any person makes, either by an article, cartoon, or by a speech, or by writing, any hatred or disaffection or contempt of the government, then he may be punished from 3 years up to life imprisonment under the sedition charges. So if carefully observed, freedom of speech and expression, which provides for us an opportunity to criticize the government, and the sedition charges, they are two sides of an extreme. It means they are just on the same genre, but however, the sedition goes overboard. If government interprets a genuine criticism as a contempt, and if it takes a citizen into custody, to that extent this freedom of speech and expression can be violated under Article 19(1)(a). So there is every chance that the Section 124A can be misused by the government to curtail the rights under Article 19(1)(a). So the article argues that the sedition under Section 124A, it is not within the reasonable restrictions that are provided under Article 19 subclause 2 of the Constitution. In this context, let us discuss about the evolution of the sedition in India. Now, it was introduced by the British when the legal code was made to India in 1860. And now, the Supreme Court of India has changed the perception or interpretation of the sedition charges after independence in Kedarnath versus State of Bihar case. So let us see exactly what happened. Now, making a speech that causes hatred, contempt, or disaffection to the government is one thing, and through the same speech inciting the people for violence and causing a public order disturbance is the continuation of it. The Supreme Court has declared that unless there is an incitement to violence, no person can be arrested under the sedition charges. This is about the present status of Article 124A. In spite of this particular, section, in spite of this, the Section 124A can be misused by the government to undermine the Article 19(1)(a), so it has to be repealed. Next, Uniform Civil Code. We all know that Uniform Civil Code is part of the Article 44 of the Constitution, and our constitutional framers wanted to have one single consistent law for the different sections of the people living in this country. So understand, Uniform Civil Code is not about one religious dominating the other religion. It is about having a common law based on the good in every religion. It is not about Hindu religion dominating the Muslims or Muslims someone else. So, but the Uniform Civil Code over a period of time was wrongly projected into the minds of the minorities as a law that can undermine their religious identity. In this context, Uniform Civil Code can improve the unity of the nation, and also it can provide for better status to the women and disadvantaged sections. But however, any achievement of such a law or bringing up of such a law has to happen with unanimity between the religious groups. then only it can sustain. We all know that a change in the democracy occurs through a long tortuous process. So anything of such a drastic change into the personal law system in the country, it shall happen through proper consultations and deliberations. The next article is about India-Africa Forum Summit. We know that already 2 summits were conducted, one in New Delhi followed by Addis Ababa, and the 3rd summit is about to be conducted in New Delhi now. So let us review what we have achieved till now through these summits. If you understand that India has given many liberal softs to Africa to the tune of $5 billion of soft loans, $500 million of grant, and also provided for free market access to the goods that are coming from underdeveloped areas of these markets. So now in this context, what are the advantages or what are the real politic that India has to achieve with regard to these summits? Now in this context, there are many countries in Africa who has per capita income greater than India. So at least with these countries, India now shall achieve a bilateralism. It means it is not just giving, it also shall have something to take back. And India has started many developmental initiatives. But the problem is taking forward them and benefiting the people out of these projects is not actively happening on the ground. So to make our technologies to reach to the last mile, we shall have a special emphasis and focus. So in this context, the author talks about Pan-African e-network project which India has initiated. And next, whatever we are doing, for example, recently there is Ebola virus breakdown and India did a lot. Whatever we are doing to Africa, we are doing through multilateral lines. So in this context, the visibility of India and the goodwill gestures it is providing to Africa are not happening, are not visible. So what the author suggests is, India shall be able to project its goodwill gestures through the right media campaigns. A specific channel of Doordarshan for Africa can do better. So these are the things. And next is India-Sweden tie-up for smart urbanization. So what exactly is this? Why I picked up this article? Understand, a smart city shall have economic, ecological and social sustainability. Just purely for this statement, I have picked up this article. Now, economic sustainability, it means if I take a city, it shall provide for livelihood for all the classes. Upper class, middle class, lower class, working class, if all they exist in the urban area, then only you can find out a synergy and a productive action can take place. Ecological sustainability, you all know that. So in the climate change, etc., we have to build the resistance, flood resistant houses, quake resistant houses, all these things. And the social sustainability. Now the social sustainability, the Singapore housing model is a typical example to this. So the urban space shall provide for interaction between the communities. It shall provide for living exchanges of cultures rather than promoting the ghettoization of the people in the urban spaces. So this is intermixing of occupation, intermixing of arts, intermixing of races, intermixing of cultures. All these becomes the path of social sustainability. And food inflation. Now, we have 2 straight years of weak monsoons. So in spite of this, our food inflation did not go up. So what is the reason? It shows improving strength of our supply chain. And you already know that the government has created a special fund to face these challenges of inflation, especially due to the shortages of food. Only the prices of onions and pulses, they showed certain deviation. However, government is also releasing the pulses so to decrease their price into the market. Now, a prime minister in a new setting. This article is about new prime minister Mr. Oli, who took oath of the office. Now you know that he is known as ultra-nationalist. I'm not worried about this entire article about Mr. Oli. What is the point which I want to drive over here is, in Nepal, anti-Indian sentiment is cutting cord with the people over there. It means if someone want to raise into the ladder of politics, then their major weapon nowadays is anti-Indian sentiment. So in this context, India, or else directly or indirectly, or through some informal means, if it is blocking the essential resources to Nepal, it is ultimately going to strengthen these elements which are raising the Nepal's nationalism as anti-Indianism. So government has to be very careful with regard to knee-jerk reactions, and it has to realize that as a big brother it shall not try to manage or micromanage the neighbors. So the existing governments, it got the brickbats from Maldives, and also it got the brickbats from Nepal. So it is not the way how we shall organize our foreign relationships. So these are the important articles of today. Now, if you want to watch the previous videos, then go to this website, that is www.laex.in. So all the videos are posted over there. Thank you very much.